The shadows stretch their long velvet fingers across the nave. As the day surrenders its final amber glow to the stained glass. Here, in the hollowed quiet of 7 o'clock, the air carries a specific weight, a mixture of the week's gathered weariness and the sudden, sharp clarity of the Sabbath's end. We stand not as individuals, but as a singular organism of breath and intent, our sheet music fluttering like white wings in the dimming light. There is a sacred geometry in the way we align, the sopranos casting their silver threads toward the rafters, the altos weaving a tapestry of warm mahogany beneath, while the tenors search for the golden marrow of the melody, and the basses provide the subterranean bedrock upon which this entire invisible cathedral is built. It is the hour of the Sunday evening choir, a time when the world outside prepares for the machinery of Monday. Yet here we remain, suspended in the amber of a Darlene Zedshek doxology, reimagined through the prism of 4-part harmony. Listen to the intake of breath, a collective gasp that precedes the first chord. It is the sound of lungs filling with the very spirit we are about to summon. When the first note breaks the silence, it does not merely occupy the room. It carves a path through the heavy atmosphere of the evening. My Jesus, my Savior, the words rise not as a casual greeting, but as a desperate, loving recognition. The sopranos soar into the stratosphere of the sanctuary, their voices shimmering with a crystalline purity that speaks of heights we can only imagine, while the altos anchor the sentiment in the rich, fertile soil of human experience. This is the SATB legacy, a conversation between the heights and the depths, a sonic built of muscle and prayer. We are singing a song that has circled the globe, yet in this specific twilight, under these specific rafters, it feels as though it was written for this exact intersection of time and eternity. The architecture of the arrangement begins to shift, building a mountain out of mere vibration. We speak of mountains bowing, and as we do, the basses descend into the profound resonance of the earth, a vocal rumble that mimics the shifting of tectonic plates. The tenors provide the urgency, the driving pulse that pushes the phrase toward its inevitable crescendo. Shout to the Lord, all the earth, let us sing. This is no longer a polite hymn whispered in a morning pew. It is a primal roar refined by the discipline of the stave. The 7 p.m. choir understands something the morning congregation might miss, the necessity of the shout when the darkness is pressing against the windows. It is a defiant joy, a proclamation of power and majesty that refuses to be silenced by the encroaching night. We are shouting not because God is deaf, but because our own souls need to hear the sound of their own liberation. There is a particular texture to the way the voices collide in the middle of the sanctuary, a shimmering dissonance that resolves into a harmony so sweet it tastes of wine and honey. The Sunday evening air is thick with the scent of old wood and extinguished candles, providing a sensory counterpoint to the lyrics of comfort and shelter, tower of refuge and strength. Let every breath, all that I am, never cease to worship you. The polyphony of our lives, our different sorrows, our very triumphs, our disparate ages all vanish into the unified swell of the SETB score. In this moment, the janitor's baritone is indistinguishable from the doctor's, and the student's soprano blends seamlessly with the grandmother's. For the music is a great equalizer, a divine solvent that melts the boundaries of the self until only the praise remains. As we reach the final movement, the pace broadens, the rhythm stretching like a vast horizon. The repetition of the promise, nothing compares to the promise I have in you, becomes a litany of endurance. We sing it once for the beauty of the line, twice for the conviction of the heart, and a third time for the sheer necessity of believing it before the doors are locked and the lights are doused. The 7 p.m. choir carries the responsibility of the final watch, the last voices to ring out before the silence of the work week descends. Our harmony is a fortification, a wall of sound built to withstand the coming storms. The music does not merely fade, it dissolves into the architecture, the final cadence hanging in the air like incense, leaving a hum in the bones of the singers and a glow in the hearts of the few scattered in the pews. When the last chord finally resolves, held until the very last molecule of breath is spent, there is a silence that follows, which is more profound than any music. It is the silence of a room that has been occupied by something larger than itself. We close our folders, the soft snap of leather and paper echoing like a benediction. The 7 p.m. hour has passed, the Sunday is nearly spent, and the world awaits us with its noise and its demands. But as we dance, but as we dance, the digital flicker fades as the heavy bronze of mediolanum swings upon the hinges of the soul, and the static of the modern street is drowned by the rhythmic pulse of a heart tuned to the ancient meters of the morning. Here in the brief space between the scrolling thumb and the eternal eye, we encounter the governor who became the shepherd, not by the will of the flesh, but by the sudden cry of a child echoing through the basilica like a divine decree. You seek power in the thunder of the forum, but find it instead in the stillness of a man who stood before the purple of the empire and forbade the threshold to a bloodied Caesar, until the crown bowed lower than the cross. This is the wisdom that does not trickle from the parched lips of the sophist, but flows like the golden abundance of a celestial hive, where the bees of the spirit deposited their nectar upon the infant mouth of a sleeping saint. We walk through the architecture of his sentences, where every stone is a syllogism, and every window is a hymn designed to catch the first light of the eternal era. Conditor before the world wakes to its toil. There is a way to this tribute that defies the lightness of the screen, as we navigate the corridors of his rhetoric, where the lore of the land was transmuted into the liturgy of the Lamb. He did not merely speak of the light. He fashioned the very lamps that hold it through the antiphonal chanting of 1,000 voices rising in a single tide, to wash away the dry dust of Aryan shadows. Witness the power that commanded the earth to yield the hidden bones of martyrs, so that the foundations of our faith might be bolstered by the crimson testimony of the soil itself. His wisdom was a sharp blade wrapped in silk, a gentle hand that guided the restless mind of the African rhetorician, from the labyrinth of the Manichees to the clarity of the Milanese font, where the waters of rebirth still the storms of a wandering heart. We are the heirs to that quiet intensity, the beneficiaries of a man who understood that the true defense of the city lies not in its walls, but in the sanctity of its hymns and the unyielding posture of its bishop. In this fleeting moment of devotion, the YouTube horizon collapses, and the hashtags of the world are silenced by the gravity of the mitre and the staff. We explore not a map of dead geography, but a topography of the inner life, where the honeycomb of the word is tasted in the silence of the cell. Ambrose speaks across the chasm of the centuries, telling us that the emperor's within the church, not above it, and that the power of the believer is found in the bended knee rather than the clenched fist. His legacy is the fragrance of the sanctuary and the structure of the prayer that holds the dawn in its hands, preventing the darkness from reclaiming the world. We pause in this digital atrium to feel the vibration of the Ambrosian chant moving through the marrow of our bones, a brief but monumental encounter with the architect of the Western spirit, who knew that to lead men, one must first be led by the word. The tribute is short, but the resonance is infinite, as we breathe in the incense of his courage and the honey of his grace. It is a call to the deep, to the hidden places, where the wisdom of the ages waits, to be rediscovered by those who tire of the shallow currents of the day. As the video concludes and the pixels rearrange themselves into the next distraction, the image of the bishop remains etched upon the retina of the spirit, a sentinel of the sacred, a master of the melody, and a father to all who seek the power that is perfected in humility. May the nectar of his eloquence soften the hardness of our speech, and may the iron of his resolve fortify the weakness of our will, as we step back into the world, carrying the quiet fire of Milan within the sanctuary of our own private silence. Upon the dust of the Rimac, where the Andean shadows descend to kiss the colonial stone, a miracle began to exhale, not in the roar of thunder, but in the quiet unfolding of a petaled Isabel, whose name was a promise of God's abundance, shed the earthly identity to become the very bloom that the angels tend in the celestial parterre. You are the rose that does not wither under the equatorial sun, the blossom that found its water in the well of divine thirst, transforming the dry soil of Lima into a sanctuary of olfactive prayer. The air of the city became heavy with a scent that no merchant could bottle, a nard of sanctity that rose from the hidden garden where the soul met its spouse in the silence of the noontide heat. Beneath the garland of silk and velvet that the world admired, you wore a crown of hidden silver thorns, pressing the reality of the passion into the very marrow of your brow, so that every thought might be a sacrifice of fragrance. You understood that to be the rose of heaven, one must first be the rose of the cross, bleeding sweetness where the world expects only the bitterness of the wound. Your mortifications were not of iron and stone alone, but of a heart that burned so fiercely it turned the surrounding air into a garden of perpetual spring. The hummingbirds of Peru stood still in the air, suspended by the magnetism of your grace, witnessing a beauty that did not seek the gaze of men, but the smile of the king who walks in the cool of the evening. Oh, fragrant rose, your petals are the prayers of the poor and the marginalized, whom you served with hands that smelled of earth and heaven. In the small cell of your retreat, the walls expanded until they touched the boundaries of paradise, and the scent of your devotion bypassed the incense of the cathedrals to reach the very throne of the Lamb. It is a feast of the senses turned inward, an invitation to breathe in the oxygen of the Spirit. We do not merely remember a maiden of old, we inhale the living presence of a love that chose to be crushed so that its essence might fill the entire world. The wind that blows from the peaks of the Cordillera carries the echo of your yes, a soft floral vibration that resonates through the corridors of time. Let the bells of the feast day ring not with metal, but with the resonance of 1,000 opening buds. In the digital tapestry of the modern age, where images flicker and fade, your fragrance remains an unalterable constant, a digital halo that persists through the noise. You are the explorer of the interior heights, the pioneer of the soul's secret valleys, showing us that the most profound journey is not across the oceans, but into the heart of the beloved. The sky of Lima is painted with the blush of your name, and the stars themselves seem to drop like white petals upon the altars of the world. Holy Rose, let us find the scent of your humility in the midst of our pride, when the world is parched and the gardens of the Spirit are brown with neglect. May the memory of your water, clear devotion, descend like a mist. You are the bloom that survived the winter of the flesh to find the eternal summer of the word. May our lives become a liturgy of fragrance, a slow burning incense of charity that rises from the streets we walk. just as yours rose from the cobblestones of your city. For in the kingdom of the fragrant rose, every thorn is a promise of glory, and every drop of dew is a diamond reflecting the light of the sun that never sets. As the feast day dawns, the heavens open their censers, and the aroma of your holiness floods the valleys of the earth. We do not seek you in the withered pages of history, but in the living garden of the present, where the soul still yearns to be a flower in the hand of the Creator. You teach us that the most beautiful thing a human can be is a vessel of divine perfume, a living rose that spends itself entirely until nothing remains but the sweetness of the name. From the heights of the celestial Lima, look down upon the pilgrims who wander through the thorns, and guide us by the scent of your garment to the place where the roses never die, and the fragrance of God is the only air we breathe. The first vibration strikes the narthex wall, where the gray dust of exhaustion has settled over the years. And the initial melody is a draft of cool air through a heavy bronze door. It begins not with a shout, but with the click of a rosary against a wooden pew, and the slow, deliberate ignition of a beeswax taper. This is the first song of the 8, a respiration for the breathless, where the lungs of the soul are invited to expand against the corset of old sorrows. We speak here of the morning of the optic nerve, when the stained glass finally catches a fractured sunbeam and turns a monochromatic grief into a kaleidoscope of ruby and sapphire. The healing starts in the retinas as they learn to see the architecture of a sanctuary that was built to outlast the tremor of our hands. Underneath the vaulted arches, the second movement rises as an unction of scented chrism and crushed hyssop. It is the hymn of the tactile oil sliding over the forehead to seal the cracks in the intellect where doubt has leaked in like winter rain. Here the choir hums a low sustained drone that mimics the steady pulse of a sleeping heart finally at peace. There is no jagged rhythm here, only the smooth surface of a silver painting reflecting the face that has forgotten how to smile. The music pulls the shrapnel of regret from the muscle tissue of the spirit and replaces the iron with the softness of white linen, washed in the waters of a distant Jordan. It is the melody of the mendicant who finds a feast in a single crumb of hope. The third invocation is a polyphony of the ancestors, where the voices of the choir become a ladder of interlocking intervals. Each note is a stone in a cathedral wall supporting the weight of the note above it. This is the song of collective endurance, where the individual ego is submerged into the resonant body of the church. We sing of the communion of the broken, where every fracture in one soul is reinforced by the wholeness of another. The harmony is complex and dense, like the interlacing branches of a cedar of Lebanon, providing shade for the weary traveler who has walked too long under the scorching sun of secular demands. The healing here is found in the disappearance of the lonely self into the majestic us. As the fourth song unfolds, it takes the shape of a deep subterranean water, flowing beneath the crypts where the martyrs rest in silent vigil. This is the hymn of the baptismal font, the cold plunge into the mystery of rebirth, where the grime of the world is sloughed off like a dead skin. The rhythm is syncopated and fluid, mimicking the ebb and flow of a tide that obeys a lunar grace. We cannot see, but can only feel in the rising of our blood. It is a song for the thirsty, whose throats have been parched by the salt of their own tears, and it offers a vintage that does not intoxicate, but clarifies the mind until the path ahead is visible through the mist of the valley. The fifth movement is the golden song of the monstrance, a radiance that vibrates at a frequency higher than the human ear can register, but which the marrow of the bone understands perfectly. It is the music of the center of the universe, pulling every stray thought back to its origin. The choir whispers the syllables of ancient Latin, not as dead words, but as living seeds planted in the fallow ground of the heart. This is the medicine of presence, where the healing occurs simply by standing still in the light of the invisible King. There is a weightiness to this hope, a gravity that anchors the drifting spirit to the bedrock of a promise made before the foundations of the stars were laid. In the sixth canticle, we hear the sound of the thurible swinging on its silver chains, a rhythmic clinking that accompanies the rising smoke of the frankincense. The music becomes atmospheric and ethereal, as if the prayers are being carried upward on the backs of angels. This is the hymn of the ascent, the healing of the vertical relationship, where the bent back of the sinner begins to straighten. We are no longer looking at the dust of our origin, but at the constellations of our destination. The lyrics are a tapestry of songs woven into a modern urgency, asking for the strength to climb the mountain of the Lord, with clean hands and a heart that has been scrubbed by the rough wool of penance. The seventh song is the most difficult for it. It's the song of the great silence, after the final chord has diminished into the rafters. It is the healing of the ear that has been deafened by the cacophony of the world's demands. In this hollowed out space, the hope is a quiet ember, glowing in the dark of a Saturday vigil. It is the patient waiting for the stone to roll away. The confidence that the silence of God is not an absence, but a profound preparation. The choir breathes in unison, the rhythmic sigh, the rhythmic sigh. The choir breathes in unison, but with the compunction of every past. The choir breathes in unison, the choir breathes in unison. The choir breathes in unison, the choir breathes in unison. The choir breathes in unison, the choir breathes. The tall shadow of Bukianiko stretches across the marble floor of history, not with the clatter of a soldier's iron, but with the silent tread of a man who found his God in the stench of the infirmary. You, who once threw the dice against the world.